I thought I knew love, until the man I trusted more than anyone vanished without a word. He told me he was coming to propose, but he disappeared to Florida instead. 5 years later, the truth finally caught up with me, and it shattered everything I thought I knew about him. You will not believe what happened next. My name is Shirley Johnson. I never thought I would be telling this story, but here I am, sitting at my desk in my small apartment in New York, trying to piece together the confusion and heartbreak I am living through. I guess I should start from the beginning, from the time I thought everything was perfect between us. I met Albert Parker about 6 months ago. We met at a mutual friend's birthday party. He had this calm confidence about him that immediately caught my attention. He smiled a lot, but it was never fake. It was genuine, warm, the kind of smile that made you forget the world for a moment. I remember that night clearly. He was wearing a light blue shirt, slightly wrinkled, and he looked like he had just come from work. Yet somehow, he looked perfect to me. I still remember the way he introduced himself, extending his hand with a firm grip. It was simple, but something about it made me trust him instantly. We started talking that night. Our conversation flowed effortlessly. I do not know how, but in the span of a few hours, it felt like I had known him for years. We talked about everything, from our favorite movies to our childhood memories. I remember him laughing at my silly jokes, the way his eyes crinkled at the corners, and it made my chest tighten in the most exciting way. We exchanged numbers before leaving that night, both of us smiling like idiots, knowing we wanted to see each other again. Our first few dates were small and ordinary, yet extraordinary at the same time. We went to coffee shops, walked in the park, and sometimes we just sat in his car, talking for hours. One day he surprised me with a small bouquet of daisies. He said they reminded him of me because I always tried to find happiness in simple things. I remember blushing so hard that I could feel my ears burning. There was a warmth in our connection that I had never felt before. I felt like I was falling in love slowly, naturally, without even realizing it. As weeks passed, our relationship grew stronger. I remember our first quiet evening together at his apartment. We cooked dinner together, and though I was terrible at chopping vegetables, he held my hand and guided me gently, laughing at my clumsiness. We ate on the small dining table, talking about dreams, fears, and what we wanted in life. I remember thinking that moment would last forever. He looked at me with such intensity that my heart skipped a beat. It was during one of our late-night walks that he first hinted at something serious. We were walking along the riverside, the city lights reflecting on the water. He held my hand, and for a moment everything else faded away. He stopped, looked at me, and said, "Shirley, I feel like we have something special. Something worth keeping forever." I felt my heart swell, a combination of happiness and nerves. I knew what he meant, and I wanted it too. I told him the same, and we hugged, holding on to each other like we could stop time. Those were some of the happiest moments of my life, filled with genuine love and hope. A few weeks later, Albert started dropping hints about something big. He called me one evening, his voice trembling slightly, full of excitement. "Shirley, I am coming to see you tomorrow," he said. My heart jumped. I had no idea he was planning this. I asked why, and he said, "I have something important to ask you. Something that I cannot wait any longer." My mind immediately raced. I thought he was going to propose. I felt a mixture of excitement and anxiety. I spent that night planning how I would greet him, imagining his words, imagining our future together. The next morning I woke up early, my stomach full of butterflies. I checked my phone repeatedly, waiting for him to confirm his arrival. I could not stop smiling, thinking about finally being in his arms and hearing him say what I had been dreaming of. Hours passed, and I kept checking the clock. I called him once, twice, and then again. No answer. I sent messages. Still nothing. My heart began to sink, but I told myself he must be stuck in traffic or busy with something urgent. I waited the entire day, pacing back and forth in my apartment, imagining every possible scenario. But as the sun started to set, my phone remained silent. No calls, no messages, nothing. I could not understand it. How could he just not show up, especially when he told me he had something important to ask? I tried to stay calm, convincing myself that he would contact me soon. But deep down, a creeping fear started growing. Something did not feel right. Later that evening, I decided to call his number one more time, hoping he would pick up. That is when I noticed a strange thing. The call went straight to voicemail. I tried again and again, but it was the same. By midnight, I could not take it anymore. I started searching online, trying to see if anything could explain why he disappeared, and that is when I found out he had apparently flown to Florida without telling me, without even a single message. I was frozen. My mind could not process it. He was supposed to be here and suddenly he was gone. The person I trusted, the one who promised something special, was just gone. I sat on my couch for hours, staring at my phone. I kept telling myself it had to be a mistake. Maybe it was an emergency. Maybe something happened. But as I scrolled through messages and social media, I realized he had not posted anything, not called anyone, not said a word. He just disappeared. My heart ached in ways I did not even know were possible. I felt betrayed, confused, and hurt. I am telling you this now, because this is where everything started to go wrong. I was waiting for a proposal, a promise of something real, and instead, I was left with silence and questions that would not stop coming. I never imagined that the person I trusted the most could leave without a word, and the feeling of helplessness was suffocating. I had been sitting on my couch for hours, staring at my phone, when it finally rang. I did not recognize the number at first, but something about it made my heart skip a beat. I answered it with a trembling voice. "Hello? Surely it is me. Albert." His voice came through the line, soft but distant. I could barely breathe. My heart jumped. "Albert, where have you been? I have been calling you all day. I do not understand. Why did you leave?" I asked, my voice cracking. There was a pause on the other side. I could hear him taking a deep breath. "Surely, I am sorry. I had to do this." "I had to leave," he said. His words were so cold and calm that it made my chest tighten. "Leave? Albert, what do you mean? You told me you were coming to see me. You said you had something important to ask me," I almost shouted. "I know," he said quietly. "I know I told you that, and I know I made you wait and worry. But surely I cannot be with you. Not like this." I felt my stomach drop. My hands shook. "What? Albert, what are you talking about? Why, I do not understand." "We were happy. We were talking about a future together. I thought you loved me." My voice was almost pleading. He sighed, and I could hear it in the silence of the phone, heavy and full of regret. "I do care about you. I do love spending time with you. But surely that is the problem. I have been enjoying our time together. Maybe too much. I do not think I can give you what you deserve. I was only spending time with you for myself, and I cannot continue like this." I felt like someone had slammed a door in my face. My mind was spinning, trying to understand. "Albert, you mean to tell me all this time, the dates, the dinners, the walks, the talks, it was just for you? Just for your enjoyment? You never meant it?" I asked, my voice breaking, tears starting to sting my eyes. There was a pause again. His voice softened, almost apologetic. "Surely I did mean some of it, but I was selfish. I liked being with you. I liked you. But I cannot promise more than that. I cannot promise love or a future. I do not want to hurt you. That is why I am leaving." I could not breathe. My chest ached in a way that was unfamiliar, like a physical weight pressing down on me. "Albert, how could you do this? You were supposed to be here. I was waiting for you. I thought you were proposing." My words stumbled out, raw and unfiltered. "I know, Shirley. I'm so sorry," he said quietly. "I did not want to tell you like this, but I could not face you. I could not see the disappointment in your eyes when I told you the truth. That is why I left. That is why I went to Florida. I needed distance. I needed time to figure things out for myself." I could not stop the tears. "Time? Albert, this is not about time. You cannot just leave. You cannot disappear and expect me to accept this." My voice trembled, loud with frustration, confusion, and heartbreak all at once. He sighed again, and I could hear a strange tone in his voice. "Surely, okay. Maybe I am being too harsh. I I did not mean to scare you or hurt you this much. Look, I am just joking. You do not need to worry. Just come to Florida. I want to see you. I missed you. I froze. What? My voice caught in my throat. You are joking? All of this, all that pain, was a joke? My hands went to my face. I did not know whether to scream, cry, or laugh. Yes, surely I am joking. I wanted to see how you would react. I wanted to make sure you cared as much as I do. I am here in Florida. You can come, please. Come, he said, his voice pleading now, almost desperate. I did not know what to feel. Relief, anger, confusion, they all collided inside me. My heart was racing, my mind spinning. I had spent hours crying, pacing, worrying, imagining the worst. And now it was all a joke? A cruel joke? Or was it a test? I could not tell. I stayed silent for a moment, collecting myself. Albert, do you understand how that felt? How worried I was. How scared I was that something happened to you, or that you did not care at all. I asked, my voice shaking, full of emotion. I know, Shirley. I am sorry. I never meant to make you feel that way, he said quickly. I wanted to see if you were really mine, if you really cared. And you do? You care. That is all that matters. Please, come, Florida. I am waiting. I sat down, trying to process everything. His words were confusing, and my emotions were even more tangled. Part of me wanted to throw my phone and scream. Another part of me wanted to pack my bags immediately and be there with him. I did not know what was real anymore or what I should feel. But one thing was clear. The next step would be mine. I had to decide if I could forgive him for this emotional roller coaster, if I could trust him again, and if I was willing to let go of the anger and confusion that had consumed me all day. I could not stop thinking about Albert's words for hours. His voice, his tone, everything. By the next morning, I made a decision. I had to see him. I packed a small bag, booked a flight, and tried to calm the storm of emotions inside me. Excitement, anger, confusion, and hope all collided as I sat on the plane, staring out the window at the clouds. When I finally arrived in Florida, my heart was pounding. I did not know what to expect. I barely knew where he lived, but he sent me a message with the address telling me to come. My hands shook as I approached the door. I rang the bell, and before I could even knock a second time, it opened. There he was. Albert Parker. My heart leapt, and before I could stop myself, I ran into his arms. He hugged me tightly, and for the first time since this emotional roller coaster began, I felt a sense of relief. I buried my face in his chest and cried. I cried for the confusion, the fear, and the longing I had felt for the past day. Albert held me close, rubbing my back gently. Shirley, I am sorry. I never wanted to scare you like that. I needed to see you, he whispered. I pulled back slightly, wiping my tears, looking into his eyes. Albert, why would you do that to me? I thought you left me. I did not know what to think, I said, my voice still trembling. He cupped my face and I felt my heart skip. Then, in a moment I did not expect, he leaned in and kissed me on the lips. It was soft, yet full of emotion, and my feelings overflowed. I hugged him tighter, crying into his chest again. I felt a mix of relief, love, and confusion all at once. After a few moments, he pulled back and smiled, a mischievous glint in his eyes. Shirley, tonight, I want you to come with me to a wedding. My friend's wedding. You will see. It will be fun, he said casually. I nodded, still processing everything. Okay, a wedding. Tonight? I asked, my mind swirling with curiosity and suspicion. Yes, you will see, he said. Then, unexpectedly, he gave me a small shrug and walked away, leaving me standing there, heart racing. I realized I would have to attend the wedding alone. I felt nervous but also curious, trusting him enough to go. Later that evening, I arrived at the wedding venue by myself. As I approached the entrance, my heart skipped. There was a large sign with gold lettering. The name was written boldly, Albert Parker. I froze. My mind immediately tried to reason. It must be his friend. His friend is named Albert, too. That has to be it. Taking a deep breath, I stepped inside. The hall was beautifully decorated, full of guests laughing and celebrating. And then I saw him. The man at the altar, the one in the white suit, standing with the officiant. It was Albert, my Albert. My chest tightened and my heart raced. He was the groom. My mind refused to process it. The name on the sign, the suit, the way he smiled, it was all him. He was getting married. I felt tears welling up, unsure whether to turn away or stay. I could not believe what I was seeing. The man I had just hugged and kissed, the man I had flown across the country to see, was standing at the altar. Albert caught my gaze from across the room. He smiled slightly, that same mischievous glint in his eyes, and nodded subtly. My emotions became a whirlwind. Anger, confusion, heartbreak, and the pull of love all at once. I could not believe it. The wedding, the kiss, the surprise, everything felt like a puzzle I could not solve. And yet I could not look away. My heart and my curiosity kept me rooted to the spot. My heart was still pounding. I had left the wedding hall and returned to my hotel room in Florida where I was staying. Everything that had happened at the wedding was hitting me all at once. I sat alone in my room by the window, crying. My face was wet with tears, my chest ached, and my mind was a whirlwind of confusion and heartbreak. I kept thinking, if Albert wanted to do this to me, if he called me to Florida, what was his plan? My emotions were a storm. Love, anger, betrayal, and disappointment all at the same time. My hands were trembling, and my breaths came in short, uneven gasps. Suddenly, the doorbell rang. My heart leapt. I hesitated for a moment, then slowly opened the door. There he was. Albert, my Albert. I felt my chest tighten so much that it hurt. Tears ran down my face as I looked at him standing there, looking conflicted, almost broken. I stepped back slightly, wiping my tears, and whispered, Albert, what do you want? Why are you here after all this time? My voice was shaking, full of pain and confusion. Albert took a step closer, his eyes soft, his expression torn. Shirley, I needed to see you. I could not leave things like this. His voice trembled slightly. Before I could respond, movement behind him caught my attention. Laura, his bride, walked toward us with a calm but firm presence. She looked at me directly and said, Albert is only mine, Shirley. You need to let him go. Forget him. I shook my head violently, tears streaming down my face. No, I cannot. Albert, I cannot let you go. I cannot watch you spend your life with her and leave me behind. I cannot lose you. My voice cracked as I sobbed, the raw emotion spilling out in the quiet hotel hallway. Albert looked devastated, caught between the woman he had promised to marry and the woman he loved in that moment. Shirley, you have to understand, I am supposed to spend my life with her. You cannot change that. You have to move on. Without me. I stepped closer, gripping his hands tightly, my entire body shaking. No, Albert, I cannot. I cannot live without you. You cannot leave me. I do not care about anything else. Please, do not go. Tears were streaming down my face uncontrollably. I could feel my whole body trembling, my heart breaking, yet I could not stop pleading. Every sob, every word was raw, emotional, and public. If someone had been watching, they would have seen a woman completely shattered, but still holding on to the man she loved with everything she had. Laura looked at me gently but firmly. Shirley, I am not trying to hurt you, but Albert is mine. You have to accept it. You cannot take him from me. I shook my head, refusing to believe it. No, I cannot accept this. I will not. I cannot let you go. I cannot, please. Stay with me. I cannot live without you. Albert's face was full of guilt, love, and helplessness. I could see that he cared for me deeply, but the situation was impossible. I stood there, sobbing openly, my emotions spilling out in public, begging the man I loved not to leave me, while the woman he was about to marry stood quietly, waiting, calm yet firm. Even in that heartbreak, I could not stop loving him. My tears, my cries, and my desperation were real, raw, and undeniable. I felt completely exposed, every emotion laid bare, and yet I could not pull myself away from him. After that night in the hotel, everything changed. Albert left. He went on to marry Laura. I watched it happen from a distance, unable to interfere, unable to stop the inevitable. My heart was shattered into pieces, each one carrying the love I had for him, and the heartbreak of knowing that he chose someone else. The years after that were a blur. I moved forward, focusing on my life, my career, and learning to breathe again without him by my side. But no matter how much time passed, the memory of him never left me. 5 years went by. 5 years of trying to forget. 5 years of pretending I did not care. 5 years of holding back the tears when I saw couples happy, when I saw him in passing, when I remembered our moments together. And yet, fate has a way of confronting you with the past when you least expect it. It was a rainy afternoon. I was walking down a street in New York, my umbrella barely keeping me dry. I turned a corner and there he was. Albert Parker. My chest froze and for a moment I could not breathe. He looked older, perhaps more worn, and the weight of the years had added a seriousness to his face. But his eyes, those same eyes, searching, full of a story he had never told me. He approached me slowly, hesitation in his steps. I stood still, my heart pounding, my mind screaming to turn away, yet my body frozen in place. "Shirley," he said softly, his voice carrying the weight of years and regrets. I looked at him, my expression hard, unyielding. "Albert," I said, my voice controlled. Steady, but the tremor in my chest betrayed me. He sighed, closing his eyes for a moment. I need to tell you the truth. All these years, I never stopped thinking about you. About us." His voice cracked, heavy with regret. "I left you because I went crazy seeing Laura's wealth, the power she carried. I thought I could manage it, but it consumed me. She made me call you to Florida to test her fantasy, her curiosity, her twisted desire to see someone else hurt. That is why everything went the way it did. That is why I left you. That is why I did not give you the love you deserved." I blinked, trying to process his words. My heart had hardened over the years, but hearing him speak like this stirred memories I had fought so hard to bury. I took a deep breath and kept my voice calm, even as the storm of emotions threatened to overwhelm me. "Albert, so all this time you left me because of her money? Because of some fantasy she had? Because you could not resist her control? You did not care about my love? You did not care about us?" My voice shook with anger, yet there was steel in it now, strength I had built over these 5 years. He looked down, shame written on his face. I did not want to hurt you. I never wanted to hurt you. But I got lost. I got confused. I made mistakes, the worst mistakes of my life. And I regretted every single day. I stepped closer, looking him directly in the eyes, the fire of the past 5 years burning in my gaze. "Albert, I loved you with everything I had. I gave you my heart completely, and you threw it away for money, for control, for someone else's fantasy. Do you know what that feels like? To be left alone in pain, to cry alone in a hotel room, to watch the man you love marry someone else." My voice cracked, the memories spilling out raw and uncontrolled. He flinched, the weight of my words hitting him like a physical blow. I am sorry. I am so sorry," he whispered, tears forming in his eyes. I shook my head. "No, sorry is not enough. Sorry cannot undo the years of heartbreak. The nights I spent crying for you. The years I spent learning to survive without you. Sorry does not fix what you destroyed. You do not get to come back and expect me to forgive you so easily." Albert stepped closer, desperation in his eyes. "Shirley, please. I made a terrible mistake. I never stopped loving you. I need you. I want you back. Please just listen to me." I held up my hand, stopping him. "No, Albert. Not this time. Not after everything. You had your chance. You made your choice, and I have spent 5 years building myself back up, stronger than before. I am not the same girl who ran to you crying in Florida. I am not weak anymore. I am not yours to break." He looked at me, his face filled with anguish, a man confronting the consequences of his own actions. "Shirley, I do not deserve you. But please hear me. I would give anything to go back, to fix this, to make things right." I took a deep breath, feeling the strength within me. Albert, I have heard enough. I will not let you manipulate me with your regrets. I will not let you control my emotions or my life anymore. I loved you, yes. But love does not mean you get to destroy someone's life and then expect them to come running back. You had your chance and you blew it. His shoulders slumped, tears slipping down his face. Surely, I am a fool. I lost you. I lost everything that mattered. I looked at him one last time, my voice steady, filled with the power of someone who had survived heartbreak and emerged stronger. Albert? I hope one day you understand what you lost. I hope one day you learn that love is not about money, power, or fantasies. It is about trust, loyalty, and respect. And you chose none of those things. Goodbye, Albert. I turned and walked away, leaving him standing there in the middle of the street, rain falling around him, the weight of his regrets pressing down. For the first time in 5 years, I felt free. My heart was still tender, yes, but it was my own again. I had survived, I had grown, and I had learned that sometimes the hardest lesson in love is letting go of someone you cannot trust with your heart. As I walked down the street, the city bustling around me, I realized something important. I had learned to value myself. I had learned that no matter how much someone once meant to me, no one has the right to take away my strength or my happiness. And for the first time, I smiled through my tears. Not for him, but for me. Albert's figure disappeared behind me, a fading memory of what could have been, a lesson that even love cannot fix everything. And I knew, deep down, that this time, I would never look back. If you are watching this, please like, comment, and subscribe to Hopeful Endings. This story shows that even in heartbreak, even in betrayal, we can rise stronger. We can find our own power, and we can choose ourselves over anyone who does not deserve us. Thank you for staying with me through this journey.